Hello. Don't know what happened
We
there.
go through this every week with this guy. I don't know what's going on
What
right now.
what are you doing?
Okay, here we go.
Hi everyone.
Hi!
So just waiting for a few seconds until people tuned in. I don't know what happened there. We were in there already,
We
so I don't
weren't
know what
live.
happened.
We weren't live. We were live, but we weren't live. Tweed Talks is live. I just got the notification, so we're good. We're good
Okay.
right now. We are good.
Look at you wearing that red
Mock neck?
hmm I feel like the light is hitting me in the head.
Yeah, the light is doing something.
Not
Whoa,
that light, that
whoa,
light up there.
whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on?
Well, oh,
No,
thank you.
no.
So listen, I don't know if you knew this, but before, um, years ago, I used to be a vegetarian.
I knew that.
You knew that?
Of course I did.
My daughter's still a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do eat a little bit of other stuff. I tell you, there was one of the things that I couldn't have is they said they had to have a green drink, and I'm sure that she's going to help us with this because there was a drink that I used to get from the health food store,
Mm-hmm.
and I was allergic to it.
Yeah.
It was a drink, and it just drove me, like, oh, I was really,
Yeah.
and believe me, because I read so much about it, I used to try to force myself to do it anyway.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because I figured that I will get that,
No, if you
you
have
know,
an allergy to something,
yeah.
Allergies can, they can kill
But
you.
it wasn't
So you
fruit.
don't want to.
It wasn't fruit. It was a powder. So I figured that it was the powder,
Mhm.
not the fruit, the actual green drink.
Yeah, well, foods are healthy as long as you're not allergic to it. Because I know there are people that are allergic to strawberries, so
Oh yeah,
you just eat other fruits.
and carrots. But
Yeah.
I met a couple of kids that came to our gymnastic, and they were strong as an ox.
Mhm.
And I told to the mother, and the mother said, "Oh, that's because they've been vegetarian all their life."
Okay.
Yeah, and they never climbed the rope in their life, but when they came to gymnastics, they climbed the rope, and they just went like
Mm.
nothing. I mean, they went up like it was nothing. So there was something to it. And the mother told me, yeah, they're vegetarian. They've been all their life. So was she.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, and as you know, I have one of my students that is Rachel, and she's a vegetarian. She's being a vegetarian since she was in gymnastics, and my daughter since she was 12 years old. I'm not saying everybody should become a vegetarian. I'm just saying.
You just went off on a tangent,
No,
and
I'm just saying.
I was just listening.
I'm just saying.
Listen, you guys. Over before we went on break,
Mm-hmm.
we decided to play a fun little game,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we had nothing to do on New Year's Eve. So I'm like, you know what, honey, let's get dressed up and let's post some really cool pictures. Just
Mm-hmm.
like, we took some pictures and I'm like, this looks like an album cover. So I said, let's upload this picture to Tweed Talks and let's see, who would come up with the coolest name for album. Come on. Come on. So I'm going to read you some of the names while you guys look at the pictures. So Dario, who we've had on the show before, Dario Saraceno, he's a musician and actor.
Mm-hmm.
Both him and our neighbor Melissa
Right.
guessed, they suggested the title, The Dynamic Tweed Duo.
Okay.
Both of them. So I thought that was cool.
All right.
Oh no, I didn't put down who suggested this title. Tiptoe Through the Tweed Talks. One of my favorites is from your fake cousin, Zach.
Oh.
Zach Tweed.
Okay.
And his suggestion was Tweed's Holiday Hits.
Okay.
Pull the picture up again.
Now the reason why he's my fake cousin is because
I love that. So leave that there. Okay, Tweed's holiday hits, obviously, because we had a Christmas tree behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother from another mother, who was also a guest on this show, he guessed "There's No Christmas Without Christ" album.
Okay.
That was a cool one. This is a really cool one also from Kayla Stachini, Juliana's mother from Thursday Evening Tiny Tots. She guessed "Best Acoustic Holiday Hits." That's an album title.
Okay.
That's an album title.
Okay. Now we got to learn how to play those instruments so we could actually do an album.
Nada Más Que Tweed.
Oh.
That was Nelly Miramonte. She suggested that one, and I love that one too.
Okay.
So, so I would definitely say that let's send the gift to Zach, because I like Tweed's holiday hits.
Okay.
I love Kayla's suggestion, best acoustic holiday hits, and Nelly. I love Nada Más Que Tweed. Okay. Love it, love it.
Excuse me.
Excuse you. Yes.
This is my vegetable juice drink here.
It's Tropicana juice, and I think there's like 75 grams of sugar in it.
Well, you've been juicing
yeah,
a lot lately.
I have, and I'm very excited to have our guest on, Sade Martin. Sade and I met in the most unassuming of places at Newburgh Illuminate.
Okay.
A couple of years ago, I met another young man, Brendan, the DJ Shark. I met him there a couple of years ago as well. And so we connected through that. And then I work on the same sets as her husband sometimes. So we all just sort of stay connected. And that's how her and I met. And she was on this journey of health. So she just completely switched up the way she ate, and I was following her page. I joined her health food page. So she's going to be joining us today and sharing some juicing recipes with us and her journey to vegan, her vegan lifestyle. So let's open up that comment. We will also bring in our guest.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you
perfectly.
Okay.
There we go.
Good. I'm great. How are you?
I am super good. How are you?
I'm fabulous.
What an honor, honestly. I'm like, you have no idea. I'm like so humbled by it. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Your whole love yourself to health lifestyle falls in very nicely with our fitness month and health for January, because so many people, and this is one of the reasons why we did this show, is because so many people in the month of January, New Year's resolutions. So we were like, we need to get someone in here to talk about, healthy food eating and things like that, juicing, which I love, as Pedro said. So we thought you would fit perfectly with this whole theme.
I'm excited. Let's get started.
Absolutely. So you said you were going to share some recipes with us, juicing recipes.
But let's find out more about her first before we do that.
Did you just cut me off?
Yes, I did, honey. Let's find out about her before we start. I know she loves me. Now, Sade, first, what made you get started going that direction of going vegan?
Well, honestly, it was health issues. So I had a lot going on. I was dealing with my health declining in different ways, and I didn't have a diagnosis at a certain point. So things just kept progressively getting worse, and more symptoms were being added to the list. And about maybe 6 months to a year before I got married, I really felt God impressing upon my heart to really go to the doctor, find out, what's going on with you. So I did that, and I had them run tests for everything. I mean, blood work to try to rule out everything. And the way that I got my diagnosis is I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I'll put air quotes around it for a reason I'll name later. But and after that, I realized all those symptoms that I had, I've been dealing with for about a span of 15 years,
Mm.
a very long time. And so they ruled out lupus, they ruled out Lyme, they ruled out basically everything. And from there on, I began the search of figuring out what I could do to improve my health. How can
Mm-hmm.
I get better? I didn't want to believe that this was something I had to suffer with for the rest of my life. I
Love that.
did not want to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I have dealt with it for 15 years, I just kind of got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually the place that you want to be before a big change happens, when you get so fed up,
Right.
and you take the direction of being relentless, of looking for answers. So on my own, I search for answers, and it's a very confusing place online on the
Sure.
internet.
Yes.
You'll
Yeah.
Google your symptoms and think you have, like you're dying or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
So I did that, and I not only did that, but I prayed. I was praying and asking God to order my steps and give me answers. And that led
Mm-hmm.
me to someone I connected to on Instagram, of all places.
Wow.
And yeah, her name is Nicole Brantley, and she's known as the womb therapist. So she deals with a lot of women wellness,
Mm-hmm.
amongst other things, and she's a detox specialist. So I linked up with her and joined one of her detox programs, and that changed my entire life. That was the
Wow.
beginning of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I did that for I joined maybe 2 consecutive groups that she had, monthly groups.
Mm-hmm.
And one after the other, I was able to cross off symptoms on my list. I'm not dealing with that anymore. That's gone. This is gone. And now that's gone. And then I began to get encouraged and realize, like, wow, I'm getting my health back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, I didn't have any of the symptoms. I had no more fibro flare ups. If you know anything about fibromyalgia,
Mhm.
it's like you got hit with a truck. Like everything hurts. You have brain fog, your energy is super low. I had to really figure out my sweet spot in terms of, okay, how much can I do today? Going
Mm-hmm.
to work was like, and I couldn't do anything else. And I was a single mom at that point in time,
Mm-hmm.
before I started the healing journey. So even way back then, it affected me in a way of caring for my daughter. I was dealing with depression, anxiety, coupled with that, because you're in such a dark place, and on the outside you look healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people think, oh, you're fine, so
Right.
you
Right.
mask it, you smile, you try to remain happy. But honestly, that fast forward, like I said, to that healing journey, that's where it all started. And God lit a fire in me after my healing journey to go say, hey, you don't have to be suffering anymore. You can try this. Like, it just started something completely new. And I haven't looked back since.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Amazing.
I could totally understand why, because when you find something that works
Oh yeah.
for you, then you don't want to go the other way. I mean, and I always say on this program that out of desperation comes inspiration,
Mm.
and you start to look for something that will actually work for you. And you heard this saying before: you are what you eat.
Yeah.
Completely. I mean, totally.
Hmm.
There's a picture that still blows my mind, and looking back, um, of myself, even I forget how many years ago. Wasn't that many. I started this journey about 4 years ago,
Hmm.
and I look completely different. Just the look in my eyes, my skin, my energy, like everything is very bright and uplifted if the picture is side by side. And all I did was change my food. I changed my
Hmm.
food, and I worked on cleaning out my temple. That's the part a lot of people forget, like about the health of the colon, getting your elimination up if you're, dealing with constipation and digestive issues, and, even allergies, like you were saying, like those are actually all signs of needing to cleanse.
Mm.
And a lot of people don't realize that. So now, knowing like what I know, I can pinpoint an issue, say, oh, we need to switch this. Or how
Hmm.
often are you going? I'll have the poop talk with so many people. It's a normal thing for
It's
me
a
in my
very
house. In my
important talk.
house,
You'd be surprised how many people ask me. Um, so, how long did it take before you started feeling better?
The first month I started noticing differences, big differences, but definitely for sure by month 3, you know, and I usually encourage people like, give it 3 months, like stick to it, because sometimes you have to go through the roughest part before the healing comes. You have to
Yeah.
experience detox. How else can all the crud and crap leave your body? It can't feel great all the time. A lot of times you have to feel worse first as it's, coming out, and then you start to feel better. So it's a lot about trusting the process. A lot of
Mhm.
people like get frustrated. Oh, I feel worse. I don't feel, and then they give up and they stop, you
Mhm.
know? So sticking with it was what encouraged me to keep going as I kept seeing one result after the other, after the other. So I knew I was headed in the right direction. And yeah, but I say 3 months is a sweet spot.
Mhm.
Sticking with it. Sticking with it. I love that. And I think that's very important with anything, diet, exercise, trying to learn a new craft or skill. I think that is extremely important is to definitely stick with it instead of just, oh, you don't get it or you don't feel better or you're not as fit as you thought you would look. And then you give up after a couple days or
Yeah.
a week, which we always talk about with like resolutions. People have a tendency to
Yeah.
do that after like week 2. It's like they're done.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead. Go
And
ahead.
that has a lot to do with your why, like your reason, not having enough roots. My why has so many deep roots. That's what keeps me going. Besides, like just, oh, this month I want to, for example, exercise is. I'm talking to the right people. Uh, Exercise is the thing that I need to improve upon. So my roots, I'm still learning, finding ways to get my roots to go deeper on my why and to really dig into exercise is super
Hmm.
important. But my why for healing
Mm-hmm.
is deep, you know.
Right.
So I've gone through many frustrations and many times where I'm like, this is a lot, but it keeps me going because I know this is not just, it's not about me. This is also about other people and helping other people heal
Hmm.
Yes.
and improve their health.
I,
Yeah.
I like the fact that you said that you got to trust the process because that's something that I often talk about. I tell my kids, if your parent gave birth to you and you ran out of the womb,
Mm.
people will be afraid. So the process is that you got to crawl first, then you got to walk, you take a little step,
Mm-hmm.
and then you run. But you don't run right away.
Right.
And,
Mm.
and that's the same thing with everything else in life, that there's a process that is not instant. Even in the instant coffee, you have to put it through a process in order
Uh-huh.
to get instant coffee. So there's no such thing as anything instant that happens overnight like that. If it does, it would scare the crap out of me.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And that's like why a lot of people, if they see me where I am today and not know where
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 you
I've come from, they're like, well,
mhm.
I could never eat like that. And I could never da da da. I'm like, trust me, this did not happen overnight. This is 4 years later,
Mhm.
So trust me, I ate the standard American diet. I had everything. I had the oh Lord, the hot dogs, I had the Pop Tarts, the honey
Hot dog.
buns. I mean, I ate all that stuff
Oh my
growing
gosh.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
mean,
no judgment to anyone ever. And a lot of people are always, maybe assuming because I eat this way now, that I don't remember or don't remember what it felt like to make that transition. It's a journey.
Mhm.
listen, that honey bun with the thick white icing across the
Oh,
top was
so good. So good, but so
that
terrible at the same time.
such a bad stomach ache.
I
What honey
remember
bun?
those
You know
days.
the honey buns that you get and they have like the thick white icing across the top?
Oh,
Yeah, I can't eat
yeah.
Oh,
that. I can't eat that.
that's
But
kid
that's a good
stuff. That's when you
Mhm.
eat that when you're a kid and your stomach is like steel.
Yeah, yeah. You
So,
can eat anything.
so now let's talk about what my wife wanted to talk about that I interrupted
I'm
her.
I'm so sorry that I jumped to that, honey, but I think that was very important what you asked her, so
Yeah, yeah, because I wanted to know the why.
love it. Well, I knew it already, but I
Yeah, but our viewers didn't know, so I wanted them to
I
know.
know I'm terrible, terrible. Yes, so let's share some recipes. There are
Okay.
definitely several people on who are looking forward to seeing you. We really tried to promote it as much as we could. So
Oh,
they're looking forward to those recipes.
Okay, now there's a lot I have to say. I'll preface it with saying this, right? I am very much I prepare food intuitively.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times people are like, "Oh, you got a recipe for this, you got a recipe for that, you got a recipe." I'm like, "You have no idea. I'm learning as I go, even now." So there's a lot that I can say, even though I've done a long-term juice fast as well. That's another part of my healing journey. After reversing the symptoms of fibromyalgia, I don't want to segue from your question, but God led me to do a long-term juice fast. And this is not something that I would just say to someone, "Oh, go juice for this amount of days," without ever having the experience, the knowledge, preparation for. But God led me through an 80-day juice fast, 80,
Hmm.
80 days. It was spiritual for sure. And and God was just peeling back layers, cleaning my colon out deeper. Um, I even ended it with 2 colonic sessions for my very first time getting colonic. So,
Wow.
and you would think after 80 days of juicing that nothing else would come out, right? There
Hmm.
was more there. Trust me, there was harder deposits. There's stuff in it. Our colon is so long. That's why our gut health and colon health is so important.
Mm-hmm.
So even that, after I did the colonics, I did my refeeding period. You have to be very careful how you end a juice fast and how you start your
Absolutely.
refeeding, because
Mm-hmm.
you can really mess with your stomach. So you always want to start with fruits. They're the easiest to digest. They break down very quick. Um, in the first week of refeeding, I passed parasites, and that blew my mind. Just
Wow.
more stuff. Yeah. So I created such an alkaline environment in my body that all there were parasites that just got killed off. So they
Hmm.
just passed through. And that's what raw foods do. Juicing, especially. Juicing is the most beneficial way to bring healing to your body quick at a cellular level, because there's no digestion needed for your body, right? It gives your digestive system the break that it needs from working all the time, breaking food and fiber and whatever you're eating. And some of us eat a lot of the harder to digest things. We're not eating enough fiber in our diet. So when you give your digestive system a break and you start juicing, you allow healing to occur on a cellular level. You allow hydration, alkalinity, enzymes for your gut. Like, there's so many good things about juicing. And I wouldn't say that. A lot of people say, is there one worse, or is juicing better or smoothies better? I won't say that either one are better. They both serve two different purposes,
Hmm.
right? So we
Right.
need a smoothie for like a meal replacement, or,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, something easy on our stomach that's already partially broken down, and for the fiber. But it is important to incorporate juicing into your regimen. It really does. On an empty stomach, in particular, is the best way to have a juice, is on an empty stomach. So in the morning, when you rise, or in between meals, if you haven't eaten and you're hungry, that's a great time to have a juice. So going back to your question, right? I prepare stuff intuitively. So I'm going to tell you this.
Hmm.
Depending on what type of juicer you have, it's going to change amounts. It's going to change how much you yield. It's going to so I'm going to give you what combinations I love most together. I
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
wrote a list.
Great.
And that way, well, I'll say this as well for those who are looking into juicing and interested in starting to juice. Masticating juicers, I find, to yield much more juice. And masticating juicers are the ones with the gears that grind and squeeze the produce, versus a centrifugal juicer, which has a high-speed blade.
Right.
So centrifugal juicers are the ones that you can put a whole apple, whole cucumber down the chute, zoom, 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 and that
Juices
juice
the
is
whole thing.
quick. Yes.
Yes.
And it's made and it's done. But there's more
Hmm.
foaming on the centrifugal juicer. There's more oxidation. The pulp is wetter in your bin. So with the masticating, your pulp is drier. Your storage life in the fridge the juice will last longer. So I say go for a masticating juicer if you're trying to figure out. I've had both, and eventually I saved and I upgraded to a different one. I've had 3 different juicers. Now I'm on my third one now. I finally found the one that I really want to stick with.
Adrian
But
just
yeah,
ordered one on Amazon.
at first, my first one, I did.
No, right now, as you just said that, he's like, "What is he? Write it down. What'd she say?"
I currently have I have two juicers, but I'm getting ready to send my last juicer to my sister. But they're both Nama juicers, Nama. Yeah, Nama juicers. Definitely an investment that is completely worth it. Completely worth it. It was my dream juicer for a long time. I'm like, eventually I'm going to get there. I'll save. I'll get, And then my husband surprised me this Christmas with the newest one that came out, their newest brand. So it's really cool. You can chop up your produce, put it all in one bin, hit the button, and let it make the juice. You can walk away while it's making the juice. Yeah, it's really cool. Okay.
Go ahead. Share your recipes, love.
Okay. All right. So forgive me, you guys, for not necessarily amounts, but I wrote all of my favorite combinations. Okay. I am a big lover of simplicity, so this may strike as like, really? That's what you like? But I'm just gonna be honest, right? I'm a big fan of mono juices, so that's just meaning one type of fruit, right? And my favorite ones, I like to add certain things to them. I love, actually, no, this was not a mono, so I'll skip this one. Pineapple juice with ginger, Oh my God.
Yeah.
So good. It's
Yeah.
like liquid sunshine. It instantly makes me happy. As soon as I start sipping, I'm like, I just want to hug myself. It's just so good. Pineapple juice, right?
Yeah.
With ginger. I like a little kick. The other one is apple. Now you'd be like, okay, I've had apple juice. I've had all these juice. If you have not had a fresh pressed juice, it is no comparison to a store-bought shelf juice. You will feel like you've been gypped your entire life when you drink.
Yeah, I agree.
You're like, this is what I'm missing. It's right. So, so apple juice with cinnamon. I like to put cinnamon in it. And it reminds me of an apple pie because it kind of gives the apple pie, apple cider, fall vibes, right?
Okay.
And you can add ginger to that too. So if you like the sweetness, cinnamon with a little kick, you'll see I like ginger in a lot of my stuff. And it's very
ginger can essentially be added to anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I have also grape juice, fresh.
I done it.
Blew my mind. The red grapes or purple grapes, whatever you want to say. Yeah. But both are great. If you like the tart, go for the green. But they're even more antioxidants and, in the darker colors, right? And lastly, for mono is orange juice. A fresh orange juice. Woo, so good. So I like the combination of the sunshiny, bright citruses mixed with, say, like mango, or mixing orange with pineapple, mango, tropical vibes, right? I see a question popping up. So you guys, I can't keep up with them, but
no, you can. We just popped that up. Go ahead and finish your thought, and we will post the questions in a second, and then you can answer some of the viewer questions.
Okay. Okay. Now for the combinations, my top 3 favorite combinations are actually the same as the one. Actually, you mentioned this one before when we talked earlier in the inbox. Carrot apple ginger juice is my go-to. It is my go-to. Everyone loves it in my household, but I also like to add a squeeze of lemon juice to it. It brightens it up a bit. So just like ginger, lemon, or a citrus squeeze in any juice really just brightens it up. It just gives a different variation of flavor to it for me. Beet, apple, lemon, ginger. I love beet is earthy for some people, right? You're like, ugh, this tastes.
I actually added beets to my carrot apple juice yesterday.
Yesterday, today, yeah.
And it's still, it's chilling in the fridge, but
yeah, she didn't share that with me. She just kept drinking it.
But I love the addition of the beet. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, beets are so good for you. for adding in that a greater amount of apple to it will help balance it for those that have an issue with the earthiness of beets. You know, some people are like, oh, I don't like the taste of beets. But if
I
you
love it.
balance that ratio and you put you don't like beets?
No, I love it.
He loves beets.
She
Oh,
just
okay,
started,
okay,
but
okay.
I always liked the beats. When I was a kid, they had told me, I don't remember all this, but they had told me that I was going to die when I was a kid. And I
Oh,
remember my stepmom back then, she was a doctor, and she used to make beet juice for me. So I already had an acquired taste to it. And so in my salad, I always put beets on it, but she doesn't.
mm.
But now she's beginning to, she liked the fresh one, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, that absolutely the beets, you can do them roasted and put them on a salad if you like it that way. There's all different, you gotta find a way what works for you, you know.
Mhm.
Pickled in
Um,
a salad.
oh,
Oh,
what'd you say?
pickled beets. Like I
Well,
roast them and then some
uh,
red wine vinegar. Throw them. Oh,
so good. So good. I agree. I think we like some of the same things because that sounds delicious. Um, the other variation, as you can see, I like a lot of fruity. I do like a lot of the fruity. And I'm learning to love more the green because we need green juices. Green juices are so powerful, especially when you put herbs in them, like your parsley or cilantro or mint in there. Brings a lot of alkalinity to the body, and they're very healing herbs. So but this one doesn't have herbs in it, but you could easily add a herb. Celery, cucumber, apple. I put apples in everything. I just feel like that. I put apples
but
in
it
everything.
helps with the sweetness, right? It
It
gives it a little bit.
does.
Yeah. I
Yes.
feel you. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people, the cucumber juice, not cucumber, celery juice, I've done the whole celery juicing for a while too.
Mhm.
Like medical medium. Not sure if you're, familiar, right? Have you ever heard of medical medium?
I haven't.
Okay, on Instagram, he's the guy that's responsible for the whole celery juice craze. So there's a lot of people who've been juicing strictly celery juice to heal
Wow.
different things in their body, to all different kinds of things, eczema, asthma, like all these different conditions, lupus, like all these things. So if you look him up, medical medium, his name is Anthony Williams, but he's also known as medical medium, and he has tons of books on healing. It's incredible. He has a heavy metal detox smoothie to help remove heavy metals from your body.
Oh,
I made that for a period of time as well. But yeah, he uses a lot of herbs and stuff like that, tinctures, stuff like that to promote healing in the body. I think you'd really be interested in what he's doing too. Yeah, medical medium or Anthony Williams. Cleanse to Heal is one of his books. I think, is it called the Liver Rescue is another one. So he literally talks about all the organs and systems and, promoting cleansing and
That's
healing.
amazing.
mhm.
Yeah, his stuff is good. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of great info. But the celery juice by itself, I'm telling you, you drink that celery juice by itself, you're gonna be like running to the bathroom. It cleans you out. So, be prepared if you haven't juiced celery by itself and you're just starting to, you're gonna be eliminating number two. It
Okay.
it cleans you out, which is great. We need that.
Right. Exactly.
We need to promote that. But the taste is something to be desired for, acquired rather. The taste of what, you know what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
is not my favorite thing. So I mix it with cucumber, which is high water content and very cleansing as well and hydrating. And then the apple. And you can easily add mint to that. I think mint is nice in a lot of different juices, like a watermelon juice with mint, and a little lime in there. Like, you play around with different combinations, start with your favorite fruits. So that way, I already like apples, or I already like carrots, or I already pick what's familiar to
That's
you.
a nice, easy way. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you're not making yourself crazy, stick to what you like at first and then start to add in some new things. Give
Mhm.
yourself the opportunity to try something new to broaden your palate. And the same goes with raw foods too. A lot of times people will say, I don't like this, or I don't like veggies, or I don't like that. Well, it's really because your gut microbiome has gotten accustomed to the way that you've been eating, and you're not going to crave those healthy foods until you actually start giving them to your body, and it changes your whole gut microbiome. And that was me. I never liked salad. But can you picture this? I never liked salad unless it didn't have, like, say if it had chicken or eggs, it needed to have something, on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first switched it, I felt like I was torturing myself. I literally felt like I was missing everything. And I was sitting there depressed, just trying to force this salad down, like making myself eat it. But what I had to do was mix it into a smoothie. And that was the way I was able to trick myself to get my greens in until my gut microbiome got accustomed. And now salads are euphoric for me. Like, they're my favorite thing. And I never would imagine that in years.
Wow.
Yep.
I love that. I love that. Do you want to post a couple questions that she could answer?
Sure. Let me see who we got here.
Well, Ji Young had a couple questions. Post that one right below it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
one. Okay. So we got.
So we're gonna connect her with you, and then you guys can exchange messages. She's a friend of mine who I also met on set, and let's go down to her next question. She asked about colonics.
This one?
The next one up.
Okay.
So she said she's heard colonics could be dangerous. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. There are different types of colonic. I don't want to use the wrong. I'm not a professional, what do you want to call it? Colon thing, person. Yeah. Yeah. So I can't fully speak on it from the professional stance, but what I will say is this, there's two different types of units, and they've upgraded. There's a newer type of colonic where, I think they call one a closed unit and one's an open. So the tool that's used in the closed unit is different that's inserted. I looked at pictures because I didn't know this, actually learned this fairly recently. What's on the bit of the tube is wider. It's controlled by I'll say the therapist, or the person running the unit. They control what water is flowing in. They control, from that direct way. But when an open unit, it's done through a pump where the water is able to, the tube is, number one, smaller, very much smaller, which is much more comfortable, I'd assume. I want what's small it is. And listen, for the longest, for years, I was like, listen, this is exit only. Listen, I'm not about to do the colonic thing for years. Right. I was just like, I can't. But when I did the juicing, I was like, you know what? You're already here. You've done so much work. Why not just go in there with one last sweep? Just be brave and do it. So I did. But with the open unit, it's a table. I'll just describe what it looks like if I can. It's a table it's a table that you lay on. There's a hole where your bottom sits, where your bottom rests, and you apply the tube. You put the tube there, right? And then either the therapist can do it for you, or you can do it yourself. And they give you gloves and whatever else you need, and then they turn on where the water is going to be flowing from, right? To make sure that the water's flowing in and not running out of you. Make sure that the tube is where it's supposed to be. And you hold in, as long as you're able to, the water that you feel kind of filling up in your abdomen, right? And then it's kind of like an enema, I guess it's, similar, but it's just the machine, right? So, and then when you can't, you just release, and then the hole underneath your bottom catches, and it almost like a toilet, how it just flushes, like nothing's going to stay right there. It just keeps flowing. So whatever you release flows that way. It was very gentle in terms of like nothing hurt being in. I will also say that a lot of people have concerns of their gut microbiome needing rebuilding after, you do this. So, I would highly recommend like eating fermented foods, foods like sprouts, and, even taking enzymes and things like that. So I did a lot of gut repair after cleaning out the stuff, all the junk and toxins. And then I worked on rebuilding my gut health by taking enzymes and eating fermented foods and stuff like that. Yeah, I would say it's great to do at least, if you can do it once a year, if you can do it once a year, that would be great.
Come on.
You can do it. I'll tell you this. I think I did see that other question connected to this. So I don't know if I just might as well answer it now. How did I feel after?
After the parasites left your body was her question.
Okay. Shockingly, I didn't feel a whole lot different. And I think it's because they were already dead. Like they were probably just inside and they were already dead. And for some people, parasites aren't always worms. Sometimes people think that all parasites are worms, and they're not. But I had worms. I did see worms. So, and I deal with malabsorption all my life. So that basically means that, what I'm eating, my body is not fully absorbing. I had a hard time gaining weight all my life. I've been very small all my life. To gain weight is like hard work for me. So this all makes sense. When those came out, I'm like, oh yeah, you're the guys that's been stealing all my nutrients, and like this makes sense. And also cleaning. That's why you need to clean out your colon. My weight has finally been able to be sustained, where before when I stress, I lose weight like that. And even with stressful months and times, I have not like dropped weight since doing that juice fast. Like my body's leveled out. So I didn't feel any different necessarily after those passed, but some people feel a huge difference once they pass. So it varies from person to person, your toxin load, what you did like there's so many variables to that, but some people will feel totally different. But I did feel totally different after the colonic in a good way. It felt amazing. I'm lighter. I lost some weight. I lost some pounds. Yeah. I felt my energy, shot up, my countenance. Yeah. My daughter and my mom dropped me off, and I had the service. When I came back, I was like, you look good. Like you look like you feel great. But some people don't always have the same experience. Some people feel like, oh, I feel sluggish. I feel really tired, or I feel, but that was the reason I also did a second session to see, well, there may be more. I just move some stuff around and go clean out more. Yeah.
So we have another question posted. Dario was asking, is juicing okay for a diabetic?
Yes, it is. Now, there's so much to be said about that. A lot of that has to do with, especially if you're talking juice fasting, right? And juicing, yes, it's safe for diabetics. A lot of times it has to do with the fats we're consuming that makes that up and down, for a diabetic. But I was in a juicing group during the time that I did this, so I had support with it. And there was someone in the group who was a diabetic and who got their A1C number to drop so much, and they were working on reversing their type 2 diabetes.
Wow.
And I wish I knew the name of it, but there's documentaries on juicing, and there's people who are diabetic in there. If you Google, I wish I knew I can't remember the name, but I do have it saved in my phone. Juicing documentary diabetics, or type it in, it's going to come up. I think one has raw in the title, so probably something with raw foods or raw. It is, but you definitely, you can do more. You can do green juices. You can do, there's lots of options, but it's actually, you don't need to be afraid of fruit. I know this is going to be like, a lot of people have fruit fear, especially diabetics, right? And a lot are told, don't consume them. You're going to make your glucose, your sugar go up and down. Yeah, your sugar go up and down. But really, when it comes to healing and improving your condition with diabetes, you have to picture it this way, right? So the cell has, imagine like a keyhole, right? If you could picture a cell with a keyhole, and there's chewing gum in the keyhole. The chewing gum represents the fat in the cell. And the key that you want to get in is the glucose that's in the blood, but it needs to get into the cell. So a lot of times it has to do with the fat more than anything. And that's what's blocking the sugar, the glucose from getting in the cell so that it can be used, it can be utilized. So there's so much. Oh, there's a book for anyone dealing with diabetes, Mastering Diabetes. I can't think of the author's name, but it's going to come up right away if you Google it. Mastering Diabetes, an amazing book, and that can help you in the right direction. The author of that book had, I believe, type 1, and I think the other one he had 2, but they both reversed their diabetes.
Wow.
And they're doctors, yeah. So there's a lot of information out there in the whole
Mastering Diabetes.
Yeah, Mastering Diabetes is The Cyrus is one of the gentleman's name, one of the authors. Cyrus, I can't think of how to pronounce his last name, but yeah, Mastering Diabetes.
There was another comment from Sabrina Washington. I thought it was very interesting what she said they do with the pulp.
Oh, I've been on this kick of like waste not, want not to the best of my ability. So I've done several things with the pulp. I have a neighbor, well, now it's wintertime, but still, I have a neighbor who has a compost, right? So every now and then I'll bring my pulp there to help for her garden. Sometimes I'll take, So I'm like, okay, this is a lot, especially do a big batch of juicing, you know, and then I can't use it all, or, you know, it's hard to utilize all of it, but especially during a juice fast, because you really are creating there's a lot of pulp. But there's so many things you can do. For people who cook, you can put it in baked goods, you can put it in muffins and sweetbreads. You can make
Carrot cake.
Carrot. Oh my gosh, carrot pulp is actually one of my favorite. Carrot pulp is my favorite. You could do a lot with carrot pulp. I take it and I make raw sushi with it. So I use it as the rice because it's nice and dry, and I put it on the sushi paper, and then I add all the toppings, my avocado, my bell pepper, cucumber, whatever, and roll it up, and it is so good. It is so good.
Wow.
So you can make you can take that same carrot pulp and make a raw soup in your blender. If you have a high-speed blender, you can add other things to it. You can make I have a food dehydrator. You can make raw crackers. Oh my gosh,
that sounds yummy.
Yes, add flaxseed, chia seed, some seasoning and spices, and put it on either parchment paper or one of those what do you call those? Like the baking flexible things. I can't think of what it's called. But yeah, you can spread it on there and put it in your dehydrator. And then you can like kind of make lines in it where you want to break it ahead of time, and then dehydrate it, and then put it with hummus, put it with some guac. Like, food dehydrator is like a raw food person's oven. It comes in handy. There's so many things you can do with it. But at the end of the day, Google ideas or ways to use pulp, and the list will blow your mind. There's so much you can do with it.
So Raquel said, just had watermelon juice with mint and felt so refreshed.
That's my mother-in-law.
I was going to say, is that related to you somehow? Yes. Okay. You know, if you can get me to drink watermelon juice, it will be a feat to overcome, because I do not like watermelon.
No.
It's
not a watermelon girl.
Everyone else in my house loves watermelon. I'll buy it for them, but I just don't like watermelon.
That's okay.
Oh, I know it's good for you. Sade, you have to make me a watermelon juice. Put an apple in it or an orange.
No, we made it before. You drank it.
Everybody has something that's not their thing. That's okay, because celery juice by itself is my thing that I just don't love. I don't think there's a way I'm gonna love it, but sometimes I'll make myself drink it.
Yeah, because you know it's good for you. I totally get that.
So I was talking earlier before we brought you in about how I was allergic to green.
Was it wheatgrass or
wheatgrass?
Wheatgrass, yeah.
But it was the powder.
Oh.
So you know, I don't think that, like, if I make a green juice on the what you call it, the
The juicer?
juicer.
Juicer?
Yeah, I don't think that affects me. It's just
You
the
think it was
powder.
just the powder that it was? Yeah. Okay.
The powder.
Ha-
I used to like my eyes would get all, it was bad.
Yeah. What do you know what it was that you were
It
allergic
was,
to in particular?
well, it was wheatgrass that I was taking, but it was in powder
A
form.
powder form.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And have you
So
had a wheatgrass shot since?
no,
I don't think. I think you've
no.
always been skeptical because they have it at the smoothie place in Middletown where we stop. We used to
Mm-hmm.
stop often.
Oh yeah, maybe I should try it there. But no, I used to make it at home, and that it just like it was crazy. It probably better now though.
Yeah, I know. What was your reaction? What was your body's
Well,
reaction?
I was allergic. Like if you cut the grass, I was allergic to that.
Oh, like itchy
So
throat.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, itchy throat, my eyes will start
Mm-hmm.
going up. But
Yeah.
lately I've been doing it, and it doesn't bother me.
Cutting the grass.
Okay.
Yeah, cutting the grass
You've
and
also been wearing
wearing
a
a
mask.
mask.
Oh.
That probably
Yeah.
helps.
So,
So, Sade, tell the viewers, like, if someone said they wanted to try, do like a vegan diet for a couple of weeks, they wanted to do it for a month. Tell them what are some good ways to transition easy, so it's not, so they're not starving, or so they're not, they
Hmm.
don't, end up eating a bunch of junk food because they get this craving.
Yes. Now, okay, so I'll tell you how I did it, and what I found to be very helpful. It was more of a baby step by baby step type of thing. And because when we make huge changes, especially with food, there's an emotional component, there's an emotional attachment
right.
to foods.
Oh
And
yeah.
a lot of us, we go through, when you remove something that you love, or, I'll put air quotes if you can love it, but, we kind of get angry, we get sad, we get like, oh, I want this, you do anything for it. So
Yeah. Mhm.
for me, it was chocolate, and that's not to say I can't have that anymore. But I used to be a chocolate fiend, but I learned also it means I was lacking certain nutrients, and that's why my body was craving, chocolate, 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 and so a lot of times our cravings are rooted in things our body needs, and we're still not giving it that thing. So okay, but I would say this: the first thing I did was I eliminated milk. That was the very first thing years ago, and that was easier for me because it messed my stomach up. My stomach
Mhm.
really just wasn't working, so I removed milk and I switched it. At that time, I think I was drinking rice milk or something. I
Yeah.
found I was just playing around trying stuff. Somehow almond milk just didn't agree with me back then, years and years ago. Now I'm fine with it, but it didn't agree with me back then. So I removed that and I found a replacement. And I think that's really the key. Once you remove something, you have to play around and try new things. Before you remove like 4 or 5 different things, start small. Start with one food group, start with, or, one meat out of all the types of meat. So maybe take out pork or remove the red meat, and then stick to chicken or fish if that's what works for you, just to wean out some of the others. Another tip is to go meatless for a certain amount of days in the week. So I, started with that too. I started to do whatever, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm not consuming any, animal products. And that gave me more room to explore new things. Help me to be able to say, okay, well, what can I make for dinner? Let me look up some whole food, plant-based meals, because you can fall into the vegan junk food. There's tons
Sure.
of junk. And then you'll end up no better, really, because you can still be
Mhm.
very unhealthy and eating a lot of junk. But there's a time and a place, like anything else. Every now and then, it's not the worst.
Chocolate.
Yeah,
Chocolate.
chocolate. Hold on one second, Anaya. Can you please? But yeah, so I'd say for me, it was about weaning things out bit by bit. And
Mhm.
so I'd start one week with the dairy, and then the next, 2 weeks, then I start to move some of the meat out, and try new things. I did try some of the plant-based meats. I did try some of that stuff. A lot of it's filled with a lot of chemicals and, and it is really not good stuff, but it was a transitional food. It was
Mhm.
something to get me over the hump of needing that bite, that chew, that texture. That's really what it's about.
Right,
A lot of
right.
times we want that taste, like, oh, this tastes just like, how my mom used to make it, or how. So use similar seasonings like that you already know you like when you make some of your whole food plant-based meals. A lot of times it's about our seasonings, our sauces we put on top of things.
Mhm.
Also, I wrote down while you're weaning out foods, trying new foods. So that way you can find your sweet spot, what works for you. So at the same time you're removing something, oh, let me play around with vegan cheeses. Let me try this brand. Ugh, I don't like this brand. All right, don't rule out all vegan cheeses because they're not all the same. You
Uh-huh.
know, if that's what works for you. If you like cheese, then a lot of people have a hard time giving up cheese. That usually is the thing. Like, I don't eat dairy, but I do have cheese. I'm like, well, cheese is dairy. Dairy. So I have my favorite brands. I don't really eat that much stuff, eat that often, but I do buy it, for my daughter. I like Violife,
Mhm.
Violife, right?
Yes.
Oh, so good. I make my mac and cheese with that mac and cheese that you had.
Did you make it
Uh,
with that? It
yes.
didn't make it
Bio,
home.
huh?
It didn't make it home. I ate it in the car.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I made it with BioLife, and sometimes I mix different kinds. So I'll do the cheddar, the pepper jack from Daya, because their cheese to me used to be really bad, and then they have now one with made with chickpeas. So that one tastes 10 times better. So I would mix all three different kinds of shredded. I also like Forager. That's another company. It's organic. That's why I really like that one. I don't know any other vegan cheese company that is organic. But Forager is. And so those are my top two cheeses. So y'all can take that for a free one. Write that down because a lot of people have trouble with the cheeses. But the other thing I was going to say is make a list of your favorite foods. Like, what do you already like? Like, okay, I like pizza. I like burgers. I like lasagna. Write what you generally like down. And then you're going to take that same list and look up the vegan option of it. You're going to look up or plant-based, whole food plant-based option, whatever you prefer to call it. And then you're going to be able to make something very similar to what you already like versus trying a whole different type of meal, where you feel like it's 10,000 steps and it's too much and I'm overwhelmed. Let pizza be pizza with a different cheese, switch the cheese out.
Yeah.
Load it with your favorite veggies, herbs, some basil, or whatever you want to put in there. And so I found that to be helpful by going to things that I knew I already liked in the beginning. So finding familiarity, like something, okay, I love this, so I'm going to try it plant-based. Other option was visit a health food store to try new foods. I find it to be kind of like a field trip for me. Even now, when I go to the health food store, I'm always going down the aisles like, what haven't I tried yet? Or, what's new? What new spice? What seasoning? For me, I'm very big on seasoning. I can't eat nothing bland. Even my salads have flavor. All of it has to be like a party in your mouth. That's how I feel about salads. So try out different seasoning blends. New things, because in reality, it takes several weeks for your palate to adjust to new foods. And a lot of times we just rule things out. I don't like this. I don't like that. But you haven't given it enough of a chance.
Right.
2 times is not enough, and sometimes it's really about trying it a different way. So you may not like it prepared this way.
Right.
And, so you might want to try, like we talked about beets. Some people don't like beets, and that's okay. But if you haven't, just try it oven roasted, try it in a juice or you just may find a certain way that you like it more than others.
Mhm.
Yeah. And also your favorite things, buy them in bulk, buy in season. You'll save more money that way, whatever's in season. And I like to go to Aldi's or BJ's and get like the thing that I always have on the list every week from those types of places. And that way you can stretch your dollar. So yeah.
Yeah,
Very good advice.
I agree. What you were saying with maybe you don't like a certain thing prepared a certain way.
Mhm.
Like the vegan cheese, I can't eat it sliced. Like I can't
Mhm.
put it on. I can't eat it sliced. but I can melt it, put a little water, a little cornstarch, a little, seasoning, and put it on something. And I do not recommend going to buy a vegan gluten-free pizza and eating the whole thing.
So we have some questions here. Boy, I don't know if we're going to be able to get on to all the questions that we have. But Sabrina is asking, is goat cheese considered vegan?
No, goat cheese is not considered vegan. It comes because it comes from an animal. So anything that comes from an animal isn't considered vegan. So even honey, So even though I don't personally, I don't call myself vegan. I'm not really big on titles. So I just really eat towards what makes my body feel good, So yeah, but honestly, yeah, but goat cheese definitely, yeah, isn't considered vegan.
Okay.
Ji Young asked a question also. Yeah, do we need organic fruits to juice?
Organic definitely would be the best option, but if you don't have access to that, don't let that stop you from juicing.
Right.
Please don't let that stop you from juicing. Yes, you can clean your produce, but the truth is you can't wash fully off all the pesticide. Like it's from seed. What's the seed that's been planted? The pesticides and all that stuff is from germinations, from that to when it's grown, So it's not that you can really get rid of all the bad stuff and non-organic stuff. You really can't. Organic definitely is the best option. So if you can do organic, when you can, go organic. And if you can't, just do the best you can, clean your produce. But don't let that stop you from juicing. Yeah, definitely don't.
So you don't have to post that because we have that. I'll put it in the that one. You can skip that question and go to the next one. We will post the juicer that you have when we post the video. So it looks like people might want to run out and get one of those juicers. Okay.
Oh, I see the question that my mother-in-law said. Mm-hmm. Yep. When you told me to start reading the ingredients, I learned to make conscientious and smart decisions. Shopping became an adventure and opened me up to try so many things I overlooked for years. Wow.
Yeah, that's very important.
Become an avid label reader. She's so right.
Absolutely. Yes.
Please don't go by the front of things. It's honestly misleading. That free, this free, that, that's just to grab you. So turn that container over, read the back, look at the fine print. If you really don't know what it is, more than likely it's chemicals and preservatives. Like, what does that mean? What does this mean? Just put it back on the shelf. The less ingredients, the better.
Yes, that's a good words to live by. The word when you're shopping, less ingredients, the better.
Ming asked, could we do enema instead of colonics?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah, my friend does that. So Dr. Rodriguez, he passed away, but he recommended that.
Yeah, enemas are very beneficial. I highly recommend them. Colonics just reach a lot farther, so they have a greater reach. And enemas are still beneficial. So like I haven't learned how to do one myself. I'm sure it's very easy. I just haven't, I haven't done it, but I it's one of the things just like the colonic. I had to get to a point mentally where I was prepared for it. So, but that's my next thing. I really do want to learn how to do it. You can order it on Amazon, order the bag. You can all that stuff is so easy to do. Some people do like lemon water, like lemon enemas, salt water. Some people, there's so many different things that coffee enemas. Yeah. So there's a lot of info out there. I think I heard green coffee is better. I've never had green coffee. But I heard that's a good one. You can even look up Gerson therapy or Gerson method. And they do a lot about healing the body, and they in their clinic that they have, I forget where they're located, but they do green coffee, I think, enemas. Yeah. Definitely go for the enemas. Do it. Yep. Like, you're better than me. I want to get there.
All right.
Let's scroll through, just make sure we got as many as we could. Lots of great information, lots of great questions. No, that's
He's late, but that's okay.
oh, we did that one already. Okay, so to our viewers, you guys know every time we post this video, once it goes live on YouTube, we always share our guests their social media handles so you guys can connect with them. And Gian, you had a lot of awesome questions. You should definitely link up with Sade, ask her, to have a more in-depth conversation, find out what other materials she recommends. I think that would be great as well. We wrote some notes down as well, so we could, especially that juicer.
Yeah. We had the pleasure to meet Elaine Lalane.
Oh yeah,
Elaine, who? Wait.
Elaine Lalane, Jack Lalane.
Jack Lalane's wife.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I had one of those juices back then.
Yeah, we have one, and we told her, and she went crazy. She, oh my God!
We have the upgraded version.
Yeah, and she started. Yeah, and it was a lot of people in the room, and she started yelling, "Hey, they juicing! We don't juicer." It was something else. She's like,
that was my first juicer.
They're working out.
Yep, that was my first juicer, the Jack Lalane Power Juicer. Yep.
Nice. I love that.
Next time I talk to her, I'm gonna ask if she'll come on the show.
Ooh.
I'll let you know.
I want to see that episode.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, she's my friend on Facebook. So, did you know that?
I did not know that.
I'm
gonna start going through your friends list now.
Let me pick up that name I just dropped.
Name dropper. Sade, it was such a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for the wonderful and informative information you shared with us and your journey. Any last thoughts, my friend?
I would like to encourage anyone listening that you can take your power back when it comes to your health. You don't have to just live with what you're going through and accept it. A lot of times medicine can be a Band-Aid. It can be very helpful when we need it. But when you're looking to go deeper and get to the root of a thing, you're going to be able to one day prayerfully be able to not use medication. So use it when you need it, but I do encourage those who have totally accepted their conditions that you can take your power back, just like I did. You can do it. Anything is possible. Healing is yours. You don't have to suffer for the rest of your life. Food is medicine. Food is medicine. Some people think it's too much to grasp onto. We question the simple things. We question, is it healthy for me to eat this veggie? Is it healthy for me? To me, we've gotten so far away from the natural way of life. We've gotten so far where we're questioning all natural things grown from the earth, So I just encourage those to get back to simplicity, eating close to the earth, eat the foods that don't have a TV commercial. That's a great place to start.
Yeah. I like that. All right. Well, another great show. I'm glad that you came on with us. We want to thank you for all the information that you gave us. Remember, we are not medical professionals, but we give you. Okay. Something to think about.
Your experiences. Yes.
And I hope you help. I'm sure it will help a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'd like to add something.
Oh,
sure.
Go ahead.
Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook at Love Yourself to Health LLC. I'm a holistic health mentor, so I'm helping people make changes in their diet to increase vitality of life, to meet their own personal health goals. And I'd love to be of assistance to anyone who's in need of making a life shift.
Awesome.
Love that. Love Yourself to Health LLC. Sade, thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You.
Much love to you guys.
All right. Okay, so I guess my wife picked the people that won. We're gonna need those people address so we could send them a little something.
What did I say? Hold on. Let
Oh.
me open up my list. Okay. Well, we need to get Zach Tweed's address.
Mm-hmm.
Kayla Stacchini.
Mm-hmm.
And Nelly Miramontes. We need to get those 3 addresses. So if
Okay.
they're not on, we could always
We'll find you.
send them.
We'll
We'll
find
send
you.
them a private message to send them some Tweed Talks swag. So we really appreciate you guys joining us. It was such a wonderful show. I took a lot away from it personally and things that I would like to include.
We're gonna have to powder my head next time.
Okay. We'll powder his head.
All right. So thank you so much for watching. There's a couple of guests for next week, but because there's a couple of guests for next week, we don't know if we're gonna have a show next week because we're going away because I'm going to. But if we're back in time, then we'll let you know ahead of time. We are going to Atlantic City to get my honor as a martial artist. So that's right. We're gonna be in Atlantic City. So and actually we're gonna talk to some of the people that are coming on the show on there. So keep tuned because we don't know if we're gonna be live or if we're gonna play a video. Okay. Thank you for joining us. That's why I didn't announce anything. Thank you for joining us.
You just said a whole mouthful.
Yes.
Thank you guys for joining us.
And as always,
Tweed Talks.
Love, peace, and harmony. We'll see you.
Have a good night.